Have you ever thought about your thoughts? Like, really asked yourself, why am I thinking that? I was in a coaching session with my own coach one day, and I was going through this whole narrative around something that had happened, and I needed to tell her all of the details. And she stopped me cold and said, how is this thought serving you? And I remember thinking, what? Why are you interrupting me? Why are you not letting me finish telling you this story? And the more I sat with it, I realized that she wasn't dismissing my problem. She was calling me on the thought, the thing that was keeping me stuck and that wasn't actually serving me. I just didn't know it. What she did in that moment was hand me a key that unlocked a whole new level of my own healing process. I was still moving through the post-cancer survivorship piece, and I wanted support, and I didn't know how to get it, and I didn't know where to find it. And one key changed everything. That question and that key helped me to learn how to understand my mind and why staying stuck in a thought or in a thought loop is not helpful when you are trying to heal through and beyond cancer. The thing that most of us were never taught is that a thought is not a fact. Thoughts are just stories that we're telling ourselves. And that may sound really simple and it may even seem very obvious to you, but we don't live like that's true. We don't live as if our thoughts are just thoughts. We live in a space where our thoughts become facts. Those thoughts, you know, the ones that I'm talking about, the ones that roll around in your mind. I'm not good enough at this. They probably don't like me. I always mess things up. Those thoughts start to create feelings inside of you. And those feelings inside of you can really shape the direction that those thoughts go. They work together. I have a thought. I think that it's real. It creates a feeling in me, and that feeling perpetuates that thought. And that's where people get stuck, is that they believe what they are feeling to be a thought that is a fact. Your brain loves to do this to you. I call these sneaky thoughts. I call them the thoughts that come from out of the blue. You're not ready for them. And all of a sudden, there's this like little thought worm rolling around in your mind, and you can't let it go because it's starting to become a reality for you. The scientists like to call it cognitive fusion. It's when you become attached to a thought and you can't separate yourself from it. You know that thought, that 2 a.m. you woke up and the thought comes into your brain and you can't get back to sleep because it's just rolling around and rolling around. Those are the thoughts that we have to learn how to manage when we have cancer. Otherwise, they keep us stuck in a cycle of negative thoughts, fearful thoughts, spiraling at 2 a.m. in the morning, and not learning how to move forward. When was the last time you convinced yourself that a situation was worse than it actually was? I know for me, the last time I did that was when I had a scan. I had convinced myself leading up to the scan that there was something wrong. Every little ache, every little pain was something that was wrong. And then I got scan results that said that there was nothing wrong. I created a narrative around a thought that created a feeling of fear. And that feeling of fear started to drive everything that I was doing every day. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. Let's go back to the question of how is this thought serving you? When I finally understood what my coach was saying, here's how I broke it down. Every thought you have is doing something. It's either moving you forward in your life, it's keeping you stuck where you are. Maybe it's even a thought that is trying to protect you because your brain wants to protect you. It wants to keep you out of danger. And so it gives you these thoughts that are going to keep you heightened and aware. And they're not thoughts that serve you, but they're thoughts that your brain thinks are going to keep you safe. So let's come back to that example of when I was going in for a scan, and maybe you can relate to this. The thought was something has gone wrong here, and I can't see it, but I know that there's something, and the scan's going to say that there's something wrong. And the brain loves that because now it puts me on high alert. And so now I'm being cautious about everything, and I'm paying attention to every little ache and pain. So now I'm hyper vigilant. And as a result of that, I'm starting to increase my stress levels instead of keeping them down. What I like to say about those thoughts, that thought that they're going to find something, something's gone wrong here, is that nothing has gone wrong here until something has gone wrong, and then we will deal with it. I tell my clients that all of the time. Nothing has gone wrong here until something has gone wrong, and then if something's gone wrong, we will deal with it. Until you have concrete proof of something, it's just a feeling. And that feeling is what's driving your stress or your anxiety or keeping you stuck. This isn't about whether the thought is a positive or a negative thought. We don't want to have that positive toxicity of, pretending that everything is okay. But the real question is this thought accurate? And is it useful? And is it proportionate to the moment? Am I escalating this thought to make it a bigger thing than it actually is? And is it true? Now, this thought may keep you vigilant. It may remind you that you need to take care of yourself. You need to go for that walk. You need to drink more water. You need to spend more time with friends. Those are good results of having a negative thought or a fear-filled thought. It's important that we honor that a thought that is comfortable can still be hurting you, like justifying avoidance or convincing yourself that you're fine when you're not. And these are some of the realities for people who are living with cancer. So let's just switch gears here for a minute and talk about the thoughts that hold you back. Because as I mentioned, these are the sneaky thoughts. These are the ones that are going to keep you stuck. Even if you don't feel like they're holding you back, they're the ones that are keeping you stuck in place and not letting you move forward. And moving forward is important to your healing process. So there's a few thoughts here that maybe you can identify with. One is about the identity thought. The I'm just not someone who thought. I'm not the person who gets to have good scan results. I'm not the person who can make those changes in my life. I'm not that person. I can't do that. Really, what these are is not you actually knowing who you are. They're old labels that have become part of your identity. And they're not going to serve you as you're moving through the cancer process because cancer requires us to make changes on how we think about ourselves and how we see ourselves so that we don't stay stuck. The second thought is the catastrophizing thought. And if you have had cancer, you have almost guaranteed had these catastrophizing thoughts. The ones that convince you that the worst case scenario is absolutely probable or happening in your life. I think we can all understand that thought. Catastrophizing is interesting because it isn't just about anxiety. It can actually be a way of avoiding taking action in your life. I can't do those things. Those things are really hard. It's not going to work out anyway. So why would I even try? That also is going to keep you stuck. And the third thought is a very subtle one and a very interesting one, and it is the comfort thought. These are the thoughts that feel like they're going to help you, but they're actually not thoughts that are going to help you. Thoughts like, now is not the right time, or, well, I just choose not to, or a thought like, I'll do it when I feel ready, not right now. These feel like thoughts that are keeping us safe, but again, they're thoughts that aren't inherently bad, but they're keeping us stuck in this space of not moving forward. I think maybe you're starting to see a trend here. So let's talk about thoughts that are going to move you forward. I don't want this video to be a your thoughts are a problem kind of video because your thoughts are not a problem. It's unmanaged thoughts that are the problem because they create that trap that you get stuck in. I just want to give you some tools that you can have around awareness of thoughts and how to move forward. So let's talk about what it looks like when a thought is serving you. A thought that serves you is going to create movement. It might be a little uncomfortable at first. You might have to step outside of your comfort zone, try some new things, but it's going to make you look at yourself and ask yourself the bigger questions of why do I not want to do this? Why am I feeling this way? Why can't I move forward? And it's those sneaky thoughts that are keeping you there. So we want this movement. We want this momentum by unpacking why the thoughts are happening, what the thoughts are, and whether that thought is actually a feeling versus a factual piece of information. A thought that serves you is also proportionate. It's going to match the actual size of the situation. So if you're having very big, explosive, fearful thoughts over something that is a small issue, that's disproportionate and it's going to create a lot of angst inside of you. Thoughts that serve you are going to give you an actual, accurate read on what is going on, not big, disproportionate thoughts that blow things out of proportion. And thoughts that serve you, well, they tend to leave the future open. They're not closing doors. They're giving you space to experiment and try things out, to notice how a thought feels in your body, to notice how a thought helps you, whether it holds you back or moves you forward. Questions like, is this true, are going to help you learn more about your thoughts. Not, could it be true, but is this true? Is it actually true right now with the information that you have? Another question you can ask yourself is this helpful? Is sitting with this thought helping me to make good choices? Is it making things better or is it making things worse? A third question you can ask yourself when you're going through this process of trying to understand what you're thinking is there another way to see this? Not a fake positive spin, but a genuinely different interpretation. It's looking at it from the other side, maybe taking it from somebody else's perspective. That's going to help you to understand why you're having that thought and why you're seeing it in that way. So we don't want to be forced into optimism. We don't want to be forced into feelings that aren't genuine. We need genuine feelings that are going to serve us, but you have to create the space for those healthy thoughts and those quality, genuine, momentum inducing feelings and thoughts to be in your space. So the next time that you find yourself spinning or you're stuck or you're telling yourself a story about why something isn't working, try to hear my coach's voice in the back of your head. How does this thought serve you? It's not a dismissal. It's an invitation to get curious, to look at the narrative that you're telling yourself and that you're carrying and ask whether you chose it or it chose you. Because here's the thing, you're going to have 1,000 thoughts a day. Most of them you didn't ask for, but what you do with them, whether you fuse them into yourself, make them part of who you are, or whether you acknowledge them and learn from them, that part is what you get to choose. And that's not a small thing. It might actually be the whole game, knowing that you can learn how to manage your thoughts and you can learn how to choose your thoughts and decide whether they serve you or not. And the thing with cancer is how you think about it makes a difference. Do you want to be thought of as a patient? Do you want to be thought of as a survivor? Do you want to be thought of as a thriver? Do you want to think about being engaged in your own healing? Or do you want to allow other people to make those decisions for you? These aren't right or wrong answers. They're just things for you to think about that are going to help you to move through this cancer pathway that you are walking on and allow you to explore other possibilities. You don't have to just survive this. You can thrive with cancer, and changing how you see yourself in cancer and how you think about your walk with cancer can make all of the difference. It starts with one question. How does this thought serve you? To learn more about becoming a cancer thriver and the cancer thriver pathway, follow the link below. Okay, so now that you understand a little bit more about thoughts and how thoughts can shape your movement forward when you have cancer, it's time to get into learning how you can actually start to control your thoughts. And so I've dropped a link in the video here for you to watch my video on how to control your mind. I think you'll find it really helpful.